There's a reason why Longsword is one of the most popular weapons in the Monster Hunter franchise. It has great reach, it's stylish as heck, and it does monstrous amounts of damage. And now with the new moves and changes, there are some interesting tricks and animation skips that you can pull off with it that will make the playstyle feel addicting even after 500 hours. Now the Longsword has a pretty simple to understand gameplay loop. For the most part, you're going to use normal attacks to fill the inner portion of the spirit gauge, which is then going to let you perform different spirit combos, such as the Spirit Roundslash, that will then level up that spirit gauge outer portion to the next stage, indicated by the outer color glow this time around. So from default, it goes to white outline, then yellow outline, and final, the crimson outline. Not only is each new stage going to give you a progressively higher damage buff, but you will also gain new attacks at the final stage, which are some of the strongest in the game and what makes Longsword feel so satisfying. So let's start with the basics and go over some tips along the way to make them even better. So let's start with normal attacks. We have the Rising and the Thrust Slash combo, which is performed by just pressing B or circle 2 times in a row. This is the quicker combo comprised out of only 2 moves, a stab followed by an upwards slash. The animation for these is faster, but the damage is going to be a bit lower, and the spirit gauge fill rate per hit will also be lower compared to some of the other moves. So you will need to repeat this 2 times so that you can fill a full bar. Then we have the Triangle Slash Y combo. This is going to perform 2 overhead slashes in a row, followed by a third and final crescent slash. This will deal more damage per hit. Animation is going to be a bit slower, and the fill rate is also slightly better per hit, with the full combo being enough to fill the entire gauge. But both of these combos can be combined with one another however you see fit, depending if you need more speed or damage in the current fight. But once you perform enough of these normal attacks, that's going to fill the inner portion of the spirit gauge, which is then going to let you cast your more powerful spirit attacks, in this case with R2. So R2 has a 4 move combo comprised out of 3 spirit blade attacks, followed by a 4th and final spirit Roundslash. And it's this spirit Roundslash move that will be one of your main ways to level up the spirit gauge to the next stage, indicated by the color outglow like I said previously, from white to yellow and eventually to red. Roundslash will be the 4th move in the sequence, so you do have to make sure that it actually connects with the target, so make sure that you position properly. And also make sure that you have at least 3/4 of the spirit bar filled so that you can actually cast the full combo. Now technically you can skip all of this straight into a spirit Roundslash by just charging up your spirit by holding down right trigger, or R2 in this case. That's going to put your character in this much slower charge animation, but one in which your character can actually move, at the end of which you can follow up with another right trigger press, which is going to perform the Roundslash. But that is going to be very inefficient, and besides, later in the video I'm going to show you a trick to use that in an animation cancel. Now there's one more normal attack I want to cover that has a very cool trick associated with it, and that's going to be the Fade Slash. This is performed by default by pressing both Y and B, or circle and triangle at the same time on the controller. This is going to perform a slash attack with a small side step baked into it. So using the directional controls, for example, will also let you perform this backwards as well as towards either of the sides, which is going to make it a very good tool at both positioning and dealing damage at the same time. But Fade Slash has another great advantage, and that's the fact that it generates a lot of spirit. A single hit with it is more than enough to fill 50% of the spirit gauge, which means we can actually use this in conjunction with our previous spirit Roundslash to level up the spirit gauge outer portion way quicker and reach the higher levels much sooner. So let me show you how to do that. Basically, right after spirit Roundslash leveled up your current gauge, just follow up with an immediate spirit Roundslash right after, which is going to be more than enough to fill enough of the bar so that you can follow up with a full combo of the spirit Roundslash once again, and then rinse and repeat with another Fade Slash again until you reach the crimson level. All of this can be done in a continuous motion that both builds spirit very well and lets you reposition slightly to hit specific body parts or to avoid an incoming attack. It's especially useful against bosses that have been downed, but you really want to generate a ton of spirit very fast so you can reach the crimson level and follow up with even stronger moves. But once you build enough of that spirit gauge and it reaches red, this is when you get the new Crimson abilities. And one of them is going to be the Crimson Slash. This is going to replace your default Y/triangle regular combo. And this is going to be a huge burst in DPS, basically a continuous series of blows that absolutely destroy enemies, and you can use this for as long as the red bar is still active. So a great way to actually squeeze in some damage when the boss is on its back. Besides this, we also have the Spirit Thrust, which launches you up into the air, by default performed with R2 plus Y or R2 plus triangle. But right after this, you're going to want to follow up with two new moves. One of them is going to be Y plus R2 or triangle plus R2, which is going to perform the notorious Helm Breaker. This is going to be one of your strongest moves. It's a series of very quick blows that more than rhymes the skill's name. Like, this is pretty much going to shred enemies with so many attacks. It's even going to send enemy parts flying everywhere. And finally, right after this, you will also want to immediately press R2 once again, so that you can follow up Helm Breaker with the final ability in the chain, which is the Spirit Release Slash. This will cause another big flurry of slashes to hit the target as your character performs a quick spin. After a successful release slash, if it connects, you even get back a full spirit bar and default back to the first level or the white outline of the spirit gauge, letting you resume the next level ups quicker from this point on. But the last two combos between Helm Breaker and Spirit Release Slash is what's going to give you the highest burst in damage. That is a few, almost dozen instantaneous hits that will shred through the bosses and send body parts flying like a popcorn machine. Also, keep in mind that the Spirit Release gives a huge amount of hyper armor. Pretty much I haven't seen many attacks even knocking you out of that animation, so the moment your character starts it, likely you're going to unleash it against the boss without any interruption. I think that maybe paralysis or sleep can technically pull it off, but I'm not sure entirely. It may have been a fluke at that time, but yeah, just do it. If you enter that animation, you're pretty much safe. Go ham at it and slash that target to pieces. Now, technically, there's one more ability that gets replaced, which is the Foresight Slash. In this case, if you R2 plus circle or R2 plus B, this is going to give you this alternate version of a dodge that also has like a riposte slash hit baked into it. So you're going to hit the enemy with multiple attacks as you perform that. Quite useful against bosses that tend to attack too often. Now, besides this, we also have the auto dodges, specifically the Foresight Slash and the Iai Spirit Slash. Both of them will give you a small invulnerability window that let you essentially dodge through almost any attack without the fear of interruption. And that immunity window can be further extended with various decos like the Evade window jewel. So let's talk about the Foresight Slash. This is performed by pressing R2 plus circle or R2 plus B at the same time, but you will need to have some actual spirit to pull it off. Pulling this off at the right moment literally lets you pass through slash counter almost any attack in the game, and this also includes enemy shouts even if you don't have any earplugs, giving you some major advantages to reposition, avoid any incoming damage, follow up with your own, and even gain a huge amount of spirit gauge back upon consuming it. However, later in the video, I'll show you a quick animation cancel that involves it, which is going to let you use it even with one single pixel worth of spirit pretty much every single time. Now, Foresight Slash does consume any spirit gauge that you have, but quickly fills it completely if you connect with the boss successfully. Additionally, right after Foresight Slash, you can press the right trigger once again to go straight to a Spirit Roundslash and level up the spirit gauge to the next level. Besides this, we have the Special Sheath plus the Iai Spirit Slash, so pressing R2 plus X or R2 plus A right after literally any attack will let you enter the Special Sheath, which opens up a few other attacks, one of which is going to be the Iai Spirit Slash that you perform by just pressing R2 once again. This is going to perform this very high-reaching cross slash that you can also use to reposition yourself, but later in the video I'm going to show you a full animation skip that literally lets you do this continuously, going from one Iai Spirit Slash to another via the Special Sheath animation cancel. You can similarly enter into the Special Sheath by cancelling Foresight Slash as well, so while in the middle of that animation, you're going to avoid the second portion of it by immediately pressing Special Sheath and entering into that. It can be actually useful if, for example, you're getting ready for an incoming attack. Iai Spirit Slash has a similar advantage to the previous move, as in if you connect with the enemy, it's also going to immediately auto parry and level up the spirit gauge right away. And finally, there's also the regular Iai Slash that you can perform while in the special sheath mode. You can do this by just pressing Y or triangle 2 times. This will give you this 2-combo samurai cross slash before your character stops. However, here's a quick tip for the Iai Slash. Right after the double triangle press, you can actually follow up with pretty much any input right after to go straight into another combo, and sometimes even skip into the last attack from that combo. So here's one of my favorites. First, you will need to enter the special sheath mode, so after any attack, press R2 plus X or R2 plus A. From here, perform a regular Iai Slash, and then immediately after, use the R2 to perform a Spirit Slash combo and go straight into that Spirit Slash combo as soon as the Iai Slash is actually over. This is going to continue that chain of attacks without interruption and give you a lot of damage. Otherwise, you can also follow with a B/circle immediately after Iai Slash, which is going to skip straight to the Rising Slash instead. But again, in both of these situations, you must continue with these button presses the moment that Iai Slash has actually started its animation. The second Iai Slash, to be more precise, the moment your character is in the middle of that animation, immediately follow up with either R2 or circle/B to follow up with the next chain. Which is now going to bring us to our Spirit Charge animation cancel portion of this video. You can actually do quite a few animation cancels and skips with the longsword, and Spirit Charge is involved in pretty much all of them because of how useful it is. So Spirit Charge is part of multiple animation cancels that let you pull off advanced moves even with no focus gauge. This includes using Foresight Slash at any time you want, a significantly quicker and a favorite of mine special sheath animation cancel, and a pretty awesome 3-strike combo via Iai Slash and Rising Slash, like how I explained previously. So all of this starts from the fact that Spirit Charge default R2 can literally be used right in the middle of any attack to set up for the next animation cancel via special sheath. This means immediately after that attack is over, you can instantly enter special sheath or Foresight Slash, letting you get access to the more advanced moves. So here's how you're going to do it. This animation will work after literally any type of attack. However, I recommend starting with either the overhead slash or the thrust, though thrust has the much quicker animation and will be the one I'm going to use. Now, the moment the attack animation on thrust starts, go ahead and immediately press and hold down the Spirit Charge with R2. And this is the crucial part right here. As soon as Spirit Charge starts, immediately follow up with either button A to enter special sheath or button B to go straight into a fully fledged Foresight Slash, even if you started with absolutely no spirit gauge. To visualize at what point you need to press that, it's right here the moment your character still holds the sword downwards to the side. It's literally a split second after you have started that Spirit Charge. If you wait any longer than that, you're going to enter the regular Spirit Charge, which has a very long animation and will just put you in danger. So just practice until you get this first portion good enough. Now from this point on, we have a few use cases, so let's start with the free Foresight Slash whenever you want. So I'm going to do it quickly with the Foresight Slash and then break it down piece by piece. So I'm going to start with a thrust, Spirit Charge right after for a split second, and immediately pressing circle or B in this case to go straight into Foresight Slash. And as you can see, I had no spirit, but I was still able to cast it. So here's a quick breakdown. I started with thrust, but like I said, this works after literally any type of attack. Then we're going to press and hold the right trigger to start up the Spirit Charge. And after a split second after Spirit Charge has begun, we're going to go ahead and press circle while holding down that right trigger. This is going to let us enter Foresight Slash whenever we want. Now, is this something that you're going to use all the time? Well, not really, but situationally it can be really good. Let's say you're in the middle of the fight, you no longer have any spirit gauge left because you wasted it or didn't generate enough, and the boss is about to land with an attack on you. If you're fast enough and pull this off with a quick thrust, Spirit Charge, and then go straight into the circle, you're going to perform this and still dodge through that attack because you also generated just enough spirit to pull off the Foresight Slash with the auto dodge baked into it. That is the only reason you really want to use this, or if you want to look cool. But another one that I really like is the Iai Spirit Slash spam. This is something that you can literally spam with itself continuously after you perform the previous Iai Spirit Slash. So basically you can pull this off infinitely without having to use any other animation, which looks insane but may also get you out of trouble. So here's how you do it in slow motion. We're going to once again start with the thrust and then immediately press and hold down the right trigger. The moment we do that, a split second later, we're going to press A/X to enter the special sheath. And right after special sheath has been entered, you're going to press R2 once again to perform the Iai Spirit Slash. But here's the kicker. The next part is going to be important. As the previous Iai Spirit Slash is still unfolding, so your character is still sliding over the battlefield, you're going to immediately press and hold right trigger once again to again charge up the spirit and go straight into special sheath once again at the end of that animation, so that you can then immediately follow with another Iai Spirit Slash. So that's going to give you the possibility to then follow with another Iai Spirit Slash after the previous one continuously, and yeah, basically reposition or dodge incoming attacks if enemies overwhelm you. And like I said, this is again situationally very good as enemies approach or attack you, but again, you don't have other sources to dodge maybe in combat. This is going to give you a ton of help. You can even make use of draw attacks, and if you have decorations that boost draw attacks or draw critical strikes, you can totally make use of this. Or you can also incorporate a quick sheath jewel to make the special sheath animation much quicker and basically have a much easier time pulling all of this off. But it's just a matter of preferences. Now, besides the Crimson Slashes being new animations, we also have the new focused attacks. In this case, we're going to talk about the Unbound Thrust. This is what you pull off with L2 plus R1, especially if an enemy already has wounds. So if you aim it at the wound and hit it, you're going to perform this Unbound Thrust, which is basically going to completely shred that wound as well as the enemy. It's another source of a quick series of attacks that will send enemies back. You can even fully stun them if you pull this off successfully. And if you hit multiple wounds, it's also going to pop them all off at the same time for some huge amounts of damage. This is going to further level up the spirit gauge even more if it actually connects with the wound, making it one of the best ways to fully reach the Crimson level. If you don't have other options or just want to get there quicker, if you already got a bunch of wounds, which is very easy to pull off with the longsword, this can be another source of spirit gauge leveling. Do all of this and you're pretty much going to be golden with everything that the game throws at you. But on that note, also let me know down below in the comments if there's anything else that I have missed. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.